Hey guys, Tayra here and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. If you've already been here, thanks for coming back. So in today's video, I will be sharing with you guys the best products of 2020. Well, for me, I will be sharing with you guys makeup. I think I'm going to do skincare and like body care in a different video. But today I have both drugstore and high-end makeup, just products that I personally feel did it for me in 2020. So if you are interested, then please keep on watching. Before we start the video, please make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Please turn your post notifications on so you get notified every time your girl uploads a video. And follow me on Instagram. And with that being said, let's jump right into the video. All right, you guys, so I don't want this video to be too long. So if I did a review on the product, I'm going to link it in the description down below. I'm also going to link it in the cards up above, just so you can see the product in action if you want to. So I'm going to start off with primers. I have two primers. Honestly, primers for me this year, I find it, I like it, and I honestly don't need anything else. The first one that I have is the Laneige Glowy Makeup Serum. Honestly, if you have dry skin and you want to wear any matte foundation, I highly recommend this primer right here or this serum right here. Just include this in your routine and you are good to go. It does a really good job at hydrating the skin, making your face look nice and dewy and glowy. And I'm just in love with this and I highly recommend it. The next primer that I have is not a stranger to my channel. This is the Fenty Beauty Hydrating Primer. You guys, I've been using this primer non-stop. I think I discovered this primer this year. I don't want to lie, but I think I discovered this year and it's been a game changer. I still have my original Fenty Beauty primer sitting in my drawer. I haven't used it in such a long time because this just does it for me. It reminds me a lot of the Milk Hydro Grip in terms of the grip, but it hydrates the skin and it also gives me that nice lotion consistency. I just love the way it feels on the skin and I'm absolutely in love with this. If you haven't tried this primer and you have dry skin, I highly recommend you do. All right, you guys, so moving on to foundations. I have 3 foundations. Honestly, this year foundations really came through for me. The first one that I have is the Nars Soft Matte Complete Foundation. I have this in the shade Marquises. You guys, the finish of this foundation is amazing. It wears really well under a mask, so I think that's one of the reasons why I love this foundation so much. It gives you just enough coverage, like the finish is nice, the shade is on point. We do need more shades, but I'm absolutely in love with this foundation. I feel like this is probably the best foundation in my opinion for 2020 and I highly recommend it. I did a whole review on this, so I won't ramble on. I link it up in the cards up above. The next foundation that I have is the Rare Beauty Weightless Foundation. You guys, I have this in the shade 460W and let me tell you, they did something with this foundation. I am loving this foundation. It is really hydrating and I feel like this foundation was made for dry skin girls. I'm loving it, especially this time of the year. I'm actually wearing this foundation today and it just, I don't know, it looks really nice and glowy and dewy. I don't know, I'm absolutely in love with this foundation. I think they really did something with this foundation. The shade range is pretty good and the price point is pretty good. So I highly recommend this one right here. So the final foundation that I have did not come out this year, but I discovered it this year and I'm absolutely in love with it. And I highly recommend this foundation if you can still get your hands on it. This is the Cover FX Power Play Foundation. You guys, I bought this on sale actually at Sephora and I'm absolutely in love with it. It reminds me a lot of the Nars Soft Matte Foundation. If there is a foundation that can compare to this one, it is definitely the Cover FX Power Play Foundation. I always hear Alyssa Ashley rave about this foundation and I did not know what she was talking about until I tried it this year and I highly recommend this foundation right here. This shade is spot on. I have it in the shade G100, so if you can get your hands on this, I highly recommend you do. So for concealers, you guys, I switch my concealers out quite often, but there's this one concealer that just does not leave my routine at all. It doesn't matter what concealer I'm using, this one is always a part of the mix, and this is the L'Oreal Full Wear Concealer in the shade 410. I use this under my eyes and it just does a really good job at brightening the under eye and it gives coverage, so I'm absolutely in love with this. I'm definitely taking this one with me in 2021. I'm almost out of this, but I'm going to use it until it's completely done before I pick another one up. So I highly recommend this. If you're looking for a bomb drugstore concealer, then this is definitely it. The elf ones are absolutely amazing. I love them, but this has just been it for me. I'm not even going to lie. So to contour the face, my favorite is the Fenty Beauty Cream Bronzer in the shade 06 Chocolate. I know it is a bronzer, or they say it is a bronzer, but I actually prefer it as a cream contour, and it does an amazing job. It is impossible to mess up with this bronzer right here, or contour right here. It blends like butter into the skin, and I'm just in love with it. Before, I used to use the Fenty Beauty Espresso Matchstick. I still use that sometimes, but this just blends so easily. I'm in love with it. Moving on to setting powders, I chose the two best setting powders this year from my collection, and I'm proud. The first one that I have is the Laura Mercier Translucent Honey Setting Powder. This is a game changer. If you've tried the original translucent, then you are definitely going to love this. It is the same amazing formula. It's just not as light as the original, but you still get that nice bright under eye that we love. I did a whole review and a comparison between the original and this powder, so I'll once again link that up in the cards up above. The next one that I have, you guys, I was sleeping on this powder. One of you guys actually put me onto this powder, and this is the ABH Loose Setting Powder in the shade Deep Peach. Y'all, it is so hard not to use this powder because it is so good. Like, my makeup does not move when I use this powder, and the shade is really nice. I personally like to use a lighter powder under my eyes just to brighten after using this one, but it does a really good job at setting the face, and my makeup lasts really long. I actually found this at TJ Maxx, so please check your local TJ Maxx before you run to Sephora to pick this one up. To set all over the face, I normally use my Sephora Micro Smooth Powder or the deep or medium deep in the Laura Mercier Translucent Powder. But this year I found a really good setting powder, and this is the Bite Beauty Change Maker Pressed Powder. You guys, if you haven't tried this powder, I highly recommend you do. It is amazing. The reason why I love this powder so much, other than the fact that it does a good job at setting the face, it doesn't change the color of my foundation, and that is why I love it. So I'm not looking for anything to change the color, I just want to set. And this does a really good job at doing that while adding a little bit of coverage. I don't know if it's the shade that I have, because I have it in the shade Deep number 1. It does look a little bit light in the pan, but like on the face, it's perfect. All right, also, I'm going to do bronzers and then I jump into blushes. The first bronzer that I have is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Bronzer. I have it in the shade number 4 Deep. You guys, this bronzer is worth every single penny. Look at that shade. It blends like butter into the skin. It is impossible to mess up with this bronzer because it blends super easily. I'm absolutely in love with it. If you have the coins to spare, honey, I highly recommend this bronzer right here. But if you are looking for a really good drugstore bronzer, the Makeup Revolution Glow Bronzer, I highly recommend it. I'm still shook by the shade range of this bronzer. I think I have the shade medium, by the way. I think there's 4 or 5 shades after this one, so you can definitely find a shade for you. And the price point on this, I don't remember the exact price, I don't want to lie, but it is super inexpensive. I highly recommend this bronzer. Like, y'all, it blends like a dream into the skin. This was by far the best bronzer for me this year. Highly recommend. So for blushes, let's start with the obvious. The first one I have is the Rare Beauty Liquid Matte Blush. This is in the shade Love. I feel like everybody by now owns this blush, and if you don't, honey, you definitely need to. If you are going to pick up anything from Rare Beauty, try the blush. You will not be disappointed. You guys, I highly recommend this right here. It's just an amazing cream blush. It blends like a dream. It looks good. Like, I apply this before I set my face. So after I do my concealer, my contouring, I'll go in with this, and then I set my face with all my powders, and the color is still there. It lasts super long on the skin. This is an amazing blush. If you don't like this color, they have a lot of colors. I highly recommend you pick one of these up. The next blush that I have is actually a drugstore blush. I recently tried this one. This is the e.l.f. Primer Infused Blush. This is in the shade Always Spicy. I absolutely love this blush for like everyday kind of blush. With this blush, you don't need to wear a bronzer because it gives you that nice flush of color, but at the same time it adds warmth to the skin, so it works as a bronzer and also as a blush. So it's just one of those that you grab and you go, and I've been loving it. The price point, it's elf. Once again, you know it's going to be cheap, it's going to be affordable. So if you haven't tried the elf primer infused blushes, I highly recommend you do. Hey guys, so the next blush that I have is the Fenty Beauty Cheeks Out Cream Blush. This was actually the first for me, the first time trying cream blushes, and I just can't go back. I still use regular matte blushes, but there's just something about a good cream or liquid blush that I love. It lasts way longer on the skin than your regular matte blushes, and I feel like that is why I love it so much. It is super hard to mess up if you are trying blushes for the first time. I highly recommend you can start with like a cream and use it underneath your foundation or underneath your concealers and stuff, so that way you can blend it out if you mess up. By the way, these blushes, they do work well if you apply them over powders. It doesn't move your powders or anything like that. This one is in the shade Daiquiri Dip, and I love this one for the summertime and the springtime. And this one is in the shade Summertime Wine. Even though the name says summer, I love this for fall, and I highly recommend any one of these two, or just any one of the Cheeks Out blushes that you might like. All right, you guys, so for eyeshadow palettes, I have three. The first one that I have is the Artist Couture Supreme Nudes eyeshadow palette. If you are just starting out with eyeshadows and you don't want to get confused by colors, or you're just looking for a really nice neutral go-to one-stop shop palette, then I highly recommend this one right here. This literally has everything you need. You don't need anything else. This is amazing. The shadows blend so good, and the price point is just like right there. This honestly is the best Artist Couture palette in my opinion. Next eyeshadow palette that I have is from elf. You guys, I don't know if you can tell, but elf really did something for me this year. This is the elf bite size eyeshadow palette. You guys, this is $3. I don't think I need to try and convince you guys to pick this up because it's only $3. I'm actually wearing this palette today. I went in with this shade in my crease and then this one all over my lids, and that is it, you guys. $3. As I said, I don't need to convince you, but if you don't want to spend a lot on eyeshadow, I feel like elf is really stepping up their game when it comes on to shadows. By the way, this one is very bad. I think they have maybe 5 or 6, I don't know, but this one is my personal favorite just to grab and go. All right, you guys, so the last eyeshadow palette that I have, honestly, I don't think I need to say much because I've been hyping this palette up so much. This is the Pat McGrath Celestial Divinity eyeshadow palette. Me personally, I've never tried Pat McGrath shadows before, and this just did it for me. Like, this is $78 originally. Pat McGrath shadows are like $125, so this was really a deal for me, and the shadows are absolutely amazing. They blend like a dream. The shadows are next level, and I understand now why her palettes are so expensive, because it is definitely worth it. So if it's still there and you can get it, I highly recommend you pick this one up before the year is out. All right, you guys, so for lipstick, I'm going to be sharing with you guys my top 4. The first one is the Artist Couture Angel Baby Lipstick. This is a part of the Supreme Nudes collection. The next one that I have is from Juvia's Place. Like, Juvia's Place really did it with the nude lips this year. This is in the shade Mademoiselle. I absolutely love this. And the next one is a new favorite. This is actually the Patrick Ta Liquid Cream Lipstick in the shade She's Independent, and also the Bite Beauty Lip Crayon in the shade Amaretto. So I went ahead and I swatched them in the order that I just mentioned. So the top one is Artist Couture, below it is Juvia's Place, then you have the Patrick Ta, and then at the bottom is the Bite Beauty. Before I talk about my glosses, I'm just going to mention my lip liners real quick. The 2 lip liners that I think really did it for me this year is the ColourPop BFF 4 lip liner. This is not new. This is my favorite lip liner. And the Juvia's Place brown lip liner in the shade Cola. You guys, absolutely love it. The top one is ColourPop, and the one below it is the Juvia's base. All right, you guys, so I'm just going to run through my glosses really quick, the ones that I feel like really did it for me this year, and I highly recommend any one of these. So first, let's start with Juvia's Place. I have two of the Juvia's Place glosses. I have it in the shade Barely There and in the shade Sis. Sis was honestly it. Like, this is definitely a must-have. I highly recommend this right here. And also the Artist Couture Uncensored 2.0 gloss. This is the perfect nude gloss. I've been loving this. I love this gloss so much. I highly recommend it. It's always out of stock. I'm not sure if it's in stock now at Sephora, but if you can get this, I highly recommend you do. And the next one that I have is from Fenty Beauty. This is their Yay Lip Plumping Gloss. This one is in the shade Cinnamon Twist. I was loving this gloss during the fall time. I highly recommend it. It's just a nice chocolatey brown gloss that just goes well with any beat face, and I highly recommend it. Super nice and juicy. And finally, these glosses, I just did a review on them, so you can go and check them out. This is the Fenty Beauty Gloss Bomb Cream. You guys, I am in love. I've been waiting for these for so long from Fenty, and finally they gave it to me, and I don't know how to behave. I highly recommend these right here. I have it in the shade Honey Waffles, Cookie Jar, and the shade Fenty Glow. I highly recommend them. I'm going to link the review up here so you can go and check it out. But y'all, I'm a glossy girl. I have so much more, but this was really it for me this year. All right, you guys, I almost forgot about this, but this is my favorite highlighter. This is the NYX High Glass in the shade Golden Hour. Listen, if you want a really nice, buttery, creamy highlight that just melts into your skin, I highly recommend this. It is just, I don't know, there's just something about it. It's not chalky, so that's why I love it. For setting spray this year, I went back to the Too Faced Hangover setting spray. I love this. I ran out of the Morphe Continuous Mist and I started to use this, and I highly recommend this. I'm out of this right now, but my Fenty Beauty Dewy Mist broke, so I just poured in this bottle, and you guys, this is just so good. I've been loving this. But a really good alternative to this setting spray is the e.l.f. Dewy Coconut Setting Mist. It is absolutely amazing. It is the same thing, but this is just cheaper. Highly recommend it. It does the same thing. So the final mist that I have is this Garnier Face Mist. This is amazing. It is a really good alternative to the Fenty Beauty Dewy Mist. If you've tried the Dewy Mist and you like it, then I highly recommend it. You are going to love this. After I set my face with my powders and everything, I'll just go back in with a little bit of this spray, and it does a really good job at just melting everything together, and I highly recommend this right here. Sometimes I'll apply this before I go in with my primer, and it's just an amazing setting spray. Well, not setting spray, just, I don't know, but I absolutely love this spray right here, and I highly recommend it. All right, you guys, so that is everything that I have. I will do skincare and body care and all of that in a different video because I just feel like this video is going to be super long. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what your favorite products were for the year 2020 in the comment section down below. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.